Good morning and welcome everyone to day 2 of the CDKL5 International Family Conference. Again, today CDKL5 Canada is hosting live from Toronto, Ontario, and it is our pleasure to have you join us. My name is Sangeeta Staley, and I'm the president and founder of CDKL5 Canada, and I will be your host today. We would love to know where you are joining us from, so like yesterday, please feel free to type your location in the chat. So yesterday was CDKL5 Awareness Day, and it was so wonderful to see everyone united in raising awareness, sharing photos, videos, tweeting about our conference. Did anyone, especially the Canadian attendees, see any of the lightings we had in place around Ontario, like the CN Tower, the Toronto 3D sign, Niagara Falls, or the Peace Bridge to commemorate the day? If you do have photos, please send them in to us, because with the conference, you can imagine we didn't get a chance to collect photos for ourselves. So now I'm just going to do, before we go into our presentations, I'm just going to do a quick recap of day 1. So yesterday, our keynote speaker, Emma, gave a sincere and heartfelt presentation of what it's like growing up with a sibling with CDD. As much as the siblings love their brother or sister with the disorder, when you are young, it is difficult for them not to have a feeling of abandonment when so much of the parents' time is directed towards a child with the disorder. Most of us want to have a basic understanding of the genetics of CDKL5, and Dr. Eubanks's train analogy has made it a lot clearer, distinguishing between the gene and the protein. I don't think, for me, riding a train will ever be the same again. Dr. Demers's presentation on epilepsy types and treatments was very popular, as the majority of CDD patients battle with seizures on a daily basis. He touched upon seizure types we don't often talk about, like atonic seizures, and a less common treatment called DBS, deep brain stimulation. Dr. Donner from the Hospital for Sick Children spoke on SUDEP, sudden unexpected death in epilepsy. It was good to know that SUDEP doesn't necessarily occur after a seizure. It is a difficult topic to speak about, but sometimes it's good to have the information and not to have anything at all. Dr. Goldman spoke on GI issues with the majority of CDD patients share, and it was no surprise that constipation was the #1 GI manifestation, coming in at 70%, and feeding difficulties often resulted in the need for a G-tube based on the study that she was using. And I have to agree with Dr. Goldman, there needs to be more research into the gut-brain interaction in CDD. CVI was presented by Dr. Russell. And what stood out was when he showed the photo of the young girl being assisted down the stairs and was looking away to deal with the input before continuing. My daughter does that. And I never thought she had CVI. But now Dr. Russell's presentation has got me thinking, and that's the beauty of these conferences. You learn something new that you didn't think you needed to know. A gynecology consult was important to include in our agenda, as many of our children are getting to or at that age. Dr. Byers cleared up the myth that if you weighed under 100 pounds, you will not have your period. I was told that about my Tia, which I know it's not true. She also explained why gynecologists wouldn't prescribe hormone therapy before the first period. Because having the first period indicated the uterus and the other reproductive organs were functional, and that's really good to know, right? Then we had Lisa Anderson share her story of caring for a child with DiGeorge syndrome and going on to developing the blenderized diet. She shared helpful tips on how to start the diet, the blenderized diet. She addressed things like constipation, diarrhea, adding supplements to the mix, and more. And Carol Ann's talk about the challenges her son faced in childhood being a sibling of a sister with CDD. What really struck out was when she talked about the glass child. research and spotting signs of a child struggling, such as difficulty sleeping, negativity, and so on. These issues are real, and it echoes what the keynote speaker said in her presentation, and it's good that we are talking about them. Lastly, Jonathan Ollison's topic, acceptance, privacy, and dignity, are applicable, I think, whatever the disability. A simple thing like letting the child know what you are going to do next and not touching their body, even to change their diaper before you convey to them that you are going to do so, is very, very important. Um, it's all about respecting the individual, regardless of their abilities. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we begin. The agenda for this conference can be found by visiting our website, cdkl5canada.ca, and following the link. But I'm going to ask Teresa to also share it right now in the chat for everybody. After each presentation, you will have an opportunity to ask questions during or immediately following the presentation. Simply type your question into the Q&A icon at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you have a general question about the conference or unable to access the Q&A, please use the chat icon. In the interest of keeping our day on time, any questions we are unable to get to during the conference will be answered by the speaker afterwards. Okay, and there's one change in the agenda that I would like to point out. Instead of having a break after the hippotherapy presentation at 1:45, we will carry on until the end so we can wrap up early and everyone can enjoy the rest of the day. Now, I hope everybody plans to stick around till the end of the day because we're going to be releasing our annual awareness video, and we're doing it earlier than usual, and it's going to be a real treat.